What's up, guys? Welcome to Rippaverse NRT. I'm Darkish. How's everybody's Friday doing? Just trying to get this thing sent out to my socials here real quick before we get started with what we're talking about today. And it's probably going to be a long video. Might not be 5 hours, but it's going to be a longer episode. Just give me a second, guys. It's everything loads slow when I'm trying to do this. And my voice is shot from last night. But Rippaverse hit $3 million while we were live last night. That was great. We watched it tick up. Man, this is good time to be in a fandom. I can tell you, like I'm loving it. My stuff needs to load already so I can get this link. It's not locking me right now. But yeah, so we're just getting started with it, guys. It's gonna be massive. We are going to win against Marvel and DC. Like that's not even an issue. We're winning now, as far as that goes. $3 million on a single comic campaign, and considering most people bought the comic Yeah, that's a lot of money. Come on, damn it, load already. There we go. Okay. But yeah, so I'm gonna talk today about Yara. Got some theories on her. I've got this cool fan art that was done by. I'll have to scroll up to see who did it, but I don't know. Oh, it's on a different page. I'll look it up later in the video. Let's see here. Yeah, share, but oh hey, Eric was live 56 minutes ago for 13 minutes. We might pull that up and watch it. I'm just now getting sitting down at my computer. All right, there we go. Oh. All right. So yesterday was insane, and we spent 5 hours in this video, and my voice is hating me today. So yeah, y'all remember to stay hydrated with your nervous drinking. You know, but yeah, it's crazy. I mean, this is a great time to be alive as far as being in a fandom goes. Uh, no one would have really predicted this a couple years ago, but $3 million in 2 weeks. I mean, before the 2 week mark was up. So, and there's still plenty more time to go. I mean, we're not even 2 weeks into the campaign yet. So out of 75 days. But yeah. So my throat is killing me. So Yaira, probably the hit character to come out of all of this. The number one favorite of everybody so far. And we're just gonna discuss her a little bit, like her design, her powers, what they could be, what she definitely has, what her importance to the story is. If Eric's gonna pull a Gwen Stacy and kill her real quick, I mean, uh, yeah. So we're gonna discuss this. This is Yara Supremecy. How's my sound, by the way, guys? I got a new sound blockers. It's supposed to be blocking the air conditioner. Can you guys hear me okay? By far one of the hottest. Yeah, definitely that. But yeah, like her design is it's unique compared to the rest of the characters. It's definitely a hot one today, and Yara is definitely a hot one. She's got a lot of simps. um, not not awesome. Damn it, I didn't want that one. But let's see. I've got all my codes named after characters, so just ignore that one. But yeah, as far as her design goes, blue and yellow is a huge theme with her, like as her main costume. You pull up a real picture of her. Oh, you guys can see it in the little one there. So this one. So move her up just a little bit. So like she's got a very Wonder Woman top feel to her as far as her costume goes. She's got the butt cape and the flap up the front there, the blue, yellow, and black, gold accents, and the headpiece that has a diamond in the middle. So I'm not 100% on any of it, of course, but that's what these theories are for. So I'm leaning towards maybe an elemental type character. She may can control various elements. She can at least control ice. We've seen that in the poster, and she has like the blue fire energy coming off of her. So that could be anything. I mean, all the excepts could have that, but she's the only one that's been seen with it so far. So I'm thinking maybe either that's a frost aura, or it helps her to fly, or uh, it could be fire. It could be literal blue fire. Um, her color colorization may have something. You just may be the color of all of her powers. Um, I think that her hair being changed blue at the bottom like that, I think that is from her powers also. Um, I don't think that it's like a choice. Like it's part of her mutation or her accept power. Is that her hair is that blue tint to it? But her design is definitely the most unique out of the characters, though. At least for now. Like we don't know enough to judge any of them really. We know that Asim's is very simplistic, but all of them are very simplistic costumes. But hers is more a little more unique than the others. Um, Plus, she seems like she's a real athletic chick. She might be like just a little smaller than like say Gina Carano as far as physically. At least in this picture, definitely. But in the one you see from the comic where she's flying down and she got the blue fire around her, it looks like she could be kind of buffed up a little bit. But I don't doubt for a second that almost every superhero is going to be buffed up in this. You know, at least built. One's going to be built for speed or strength or whatever. They're going to be some level of athletic. How about it? Any theories from the chat? Where is my not bot? I'm making sure that I turned all that off. Yesterday, people couldn't could not put caps locks in the thing. Otherwise, it would delete their post. So I'm making sure that that's fixed. Let's see. I know this one started kind of early. So where it be? Where it be? There we go. Yeah, dead air. Yeah, I know, man. Just give me just a second. Can you hear me? Okay though. I've got I was making sure that the chat the not bot was fixed. I know I went in there last night. I was making sure I saved it, so it's all good. I'm gonna be here for a few hours today. Hopefully not 5, but who knows. Um. So yeah, Yara. Any theories from the chat on her powers? Cool. Yeah, I got a new thing to block out the sound, so hopefully I won't have the robot issues anymore or anything like that. Uh, Figure since I got to 100 subs, I better get one because I can't keep having audio issues every time I turn on the computer. Voice mod is no substitution for a good sound blocker. So yeah, um, but I was just saying earlier that I think that the game version of Yara, yeah, I saw that. That looked cool. Um, I went with this one for today's just because it's got the not the big one here, but this one for today's background image. Um, yeah, yeah. It looked like it kind of did look like they gave her lightning powers. Like I said, I think that her powers are more so they could be elemental, so she could use lightning or fire or any of those. I mean, she could be the raw just elementalist like storm character. Uh, but I think that the color blue it has a lot to do with her powers. Like every power she uses is going to be blue. Um, and I think that that's part of her like that part of her hair is from like her mutation. I think that was just like a 3D builder type program, maybe like Blender or something like that. It was just they probably just loaded in a model and designed the clothes real quick because it looks like certain like older older style 3D renderings. So it didn't look like what you call. I didn't see. I saw one that was just a 3D image. We might be talking about a different one. So, but I'll look into it and see if I can find it. Um, it might be DC Online that you're talking about. Let me see here. I got my book. I got some in my bookmarks for Mondays. Mondays. What you call it? Fan art. Fan art show. Damn. I cannot talk today, guys. I talked myself out yesterday. Let's see. This one. Yeah. Yeah. That's not DC. That's not DC Online. If it's that one that you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. If I'm not sure if that's the one. What do you mean free? I paid for this shit today. Hold on. I gotta check my sound blocker because it's trying to say some shit about free. I paid for this shit today because it would only last an hour before. What the hell you talking about? It is upgraded. You piece of shit. Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. I'm about to throw this fucking. Like, y'all better be bumping it up to unlocking this shit because I just paid for it. I'm about to yell at somebody. The hell? All right. I guess it's active. I just don't fucking know. Let me know if my sound gets bad all of a sudden. What's up, y'all? Yeah, this is our Yaira Appreciation video. So let's see. My camera's being stupid. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards elemental powers with her. You know, like I said, at the very least, ice, and she's got the power up. But that could freeze. It could boost her strength. Who knows at this point? But I'm leaning towards like she's got multiple elemental powers. People are saying that she might be the Wonder Woman. I'm leaning towards the Storm of the group, or I say group, and I think that she was a teammate of Awesome's when he was doing the hero thing. That they had teamed up, and that she's pissed off at him because he retired. Right? That's what I'm thinking. So when he shows up, she just attacks him, pretty much with the Alpha Core. I don't think she's with the Alpha Core. I just think it goes along at around the same time. But well, what do you guys think? I mean, but yeah. So anybody seen any good fan art of her? That I like that one myself. Uh, that one's yeah, it's got a very Vertigo look to it, and I kind of dig that. So I've even got my ring light to Yara blue today. So I got a question. Do you think that the comic book would have made $3 million if Yara wasn't in it? If Yara wasn't one of the announcement characters? Let's see. Maybe 1.5. Yeah, yeah. I was leaning towards about a million. I mean, I'm not saying over the whole campaign. I'm saying over the first, 2 weeks. Like, Yara definitely sped that up some because there's a bunch of Yara simps out there. But I mean, 3 million is insane. Like, I figured we're gonna go up a million about every week until this is over. Because there's gonna be people like me who go in 2 or 3 times and buy stuff separately instead of like all at the same time. Because it's easy. It's easier for me to buy it like that. Just to buy 1 or 2 things at a time and then go in and get something else later. Uh, right now, anyway. Like I know I was telling y'all yesterday that I 3D print as a business, and right now it's convention season, so everybody's got all the 3D prints they want right now. So work is slow for me right now, and yeah. So the last thing I printed was a belt for Raven from Teen Titans, and I'm talking about the original comics Teen Titans. So, but I'm thinking 5 mil. I'm leaning more towards 10 now. I mean, I'll somewhere between 9 and 12 is where I think it's going to cap out by the end of the campaign. Well, I mean, yeah, yeah, it's kind of slow, but I mean, this also could be an off week for people. Like some people get paid every 2 weeks, so I mean, it could be an off week for the ones who have money. You predict 14? Okay, yeah, 14 sounds. That's highballing, my number. So I'm like, I'm not between 9 and 12 at the end here. Like somewhere between 9 and 12. It may be one of those odd things where it's everybody's getting paid on the same week. um, oh yeah, the final weeks. Yes. Oh, the final week is gonna go crazy. Look, Yaira, you got a chibi. There's a chibi version of you now. 10 times Berserker. Oh, oh, that would be. That's insane. Right? Like a lot of the reason that Berserker did so well was because of just Keanu did it. You know, that's a lot of the reason that it did good. I never read it. I don't, but just that's a huge reason that it did so well. And then like, what's up, Piggy? The general's here. Um, well, tell you what, if you buy the cards, it, take pictures of them and send them to me. uh, if you get them before I do, I need every edge I can get right now. Mm. Like, take pictures of the backs of them. Those will help with the series. But now, once the story gets rolling, man, we're gonna be making up all kind of shit. Just for this universe, trying to find out what the hell is going on, and we'll have some information to go off of. Like, but I'm leaning towards Yara being, elemental powered, and blue being the color of all of her powers. Like, and I'm starting to wonder if there's very many people with alternate identities, because like you've got Yara, and her name is a regular name, right? It's not really a power name. It's like Queen Maeve, from the boys. So it's a real name. So awesome. Of course, it's a superhero name, but I'm wondering if the Alpha Core have like superhero names, or if they're named, they just go by like, "Hey, Dave," you know. Oh, you're in Sweden. Yeah, you, you probably won't then, unless you just buy it before I do. Like, I may wait till the end of the campaign to buy it. I don't know. I know I'm gonna get them, but if uh, if I got people to donate to my subscribe star and my Patreon, and I got, say, $200 worth of subscribers, I would buy the cards, right? And I would give them away as my $500 500 sub, or 1,000 sub giveaway, right? I think that would be cool to do that. Like I said, if people donate to me, every dollar is going back into this. It's either going to pay for like the 3D prints, or it's going to pay for stuff like that for you guys. So it's, yeah, they'll probably just um, Alpha 1, 2, and 3. or Alpha, Beta, and Delta. Like that would be a interesting way to name them. Just name all the Alpha Core after alphanumerical. You know. Let's see where it be. We'll just leave that up. What's up, Barrett? But yeah, so yeah, the Alpha Core. I think that would be a cool way to name them. It's just like Alpha, Beta, Delta, all of that. I have a whole team just named after Greek letters. But yeah, Yaira is definitely the fan favorite out of all the characters so far. People like Awesome, people like the Alpha are interested in the Alpha Core, but Yaira is definitely the one that got everybody's attention with at first anyway. But yeah, we hit 100 views last night, which is amazing in just 1 week. So I want to thank everybody here for that too. Um, Next step is to get that hat printed off and get it sent to pick a winner and get it sent to them. Visor Man Supremacy, yes. Yes, Yellow Spider Guy, yes. Visor Man Supremacy. Oh, the fucking memes. Like I said, I don't. Like we were talking about last night. He might be a scout or something. Just some random dude that's with him. I'd find that hilarious as hell. But I mean, Visor Guy Supremacy. But we talking about Yara Supremacy today because she is definitely like. I can't wait for Eric to break the internet with that. Just giving Yara her own comic book. I see. It's probably gonna go Awesome One, Awesome Two, and that might be all of the arc. The Volume One and Volume Two, I figure, and then they'll go into a different one because that's basically a whole year's worth of comics in two comics. It's basically 12 issues. What it'll be. That's how I figure it. It'll go in 96 issues with no ads. So it's probably going to be 6 months worth of 6 months worth like a Marvel comic, and then another issue of that'll be 12. So that'll be a whole year's worth of stories that are in two books. So yeah, that's how I'm figuring it. So that'll probably cover that whole arc, and then like I say, by this time next year we'll have a third comic coming out probably. The third campaign will be starting about that time, and that'll probably be a new series, like a new arc altogether. So that's how it. I figure that's how it's going to lay out. But Eric could do three. He could do three volumes of the same arc, or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, it's just all about the Yaira. What do you say about the beginning of September? We should get the books. Ain't that right? So yeah, if you're in the chat, like the video. That way we can boost the algorithm a little bit. Uh, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We love to have you in every video that we do. And let's see, tomorrow's Saturday. I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Probably just another little chat episode until Monday. Monday will be the fan art episode. Another one of those. So if you guys find any fan art on Twitter or something like that or anywhere, tag me in it. That way I can get it added to the list here with the author's name, artist name, because that seems to be the most popular video that I've done so far is the fan art. So I'm gonna do that every week as far as that goes. Yeah, alternate costumes also. If you find any alternate costume art, send them my way. So I can showcase that as well because it's oh man, I am off my game today. 5 hours took it out of me yesterday, but yeah. So anybody in the chat have any theories on Yaira or hell even ships? What do y'all got? Anything? Do y'all ship our Awesome and Yara? We just became a pro shipping channel. All right, so uh, I've seen it in almost every chat that hasn't been mine. When Eric's home with like Jeremy and them, somebody will always ask, "Is Yara gonna get blacked?" uh, and then somebody in the chat put put two awesomes, Yara, and then four, two more awesomes next to her with that little emote. Oh, like yeah, that's fucking hilarious. But yeah, how about it? Do y'all ship them? Okay, so you like that they might be meeting for the first time. Okay, all right. I mean, maybe. Listen, mine is I think that they were on a team together before he retired, and the hero thing when the hero thing didn't work out for him before, so that's fine. I think that they were on a team together before. It's probably them and the main guy from the big guy from Alpha Core. We're probably on a team together. Do you think there'll be a supervillain in the Awesome 1? Yeah, definitely. There's 11 of the cards, 11 characters on the card. We haven't even been shown 11 characters. So I'm definitely thinking there could be a supervillain in it. Now, what that supervillain is, I don't have a clue. But, you know, could be Darren Fontaine. He could actually be an XF. I doubt it, but he could be. Oh, have y'all seen the pirated shit? Like somebody's been pirating, making pirated Rippaverse shirts. Like already, I mean, there's a bunch of them too. Like I found them last night on Google. Yeah, I mean that's definitely possible. Um, but they don't know each other. I'm I'm thinking they do. I think she might just be pissed off at him for quitting, but I mean she might not know him, so that might be why she's going after him. And then covers and everything can be deceiving, so they might not even fight. Yeah. I'll pull them up. Let me see here. I sent a picture to Eric last night of it just to let him know that somebody had already see. Okay. Like I found it while I was looking up this right here, and then they just started popping up, and it's the same exact shirt that he's selling as far as that goes, but it's if I can, I've got a screenshot of it on my phone, so they may have already been taken down. But I'll see if I can find them here. Because I saw him yesterday, and I'm like, okay, I probably should let Eric know this, that somebody's already got some not. Yeah, it looks like they've already been taken down, so Eric may have got him about it. Let's see. I mean, it's pretty much that same picture right there, though. Just on different colored shirts. Yep. No. Here it is. Here it is, right here. All right. So already there's some knockoff merchandise being sold. Right. This is just one of them. I found a few of them, but this is the one I sent Eric. Like, let's check it out. It's on. It sounds better now all of a sudden. Okay. Well, that's probably because that thing went off, but I don't know. As far as that goes, because the sound dampener could. If you start to hear my AC or something, let me know. Yeah, yeah, right here. So pirated merch already. Yeah. You can't see half my screen. Okay. Yeah. Let me. What's going on, Van? Yeah. So Flabbit or whatever it is, and they've got a bunch of different designs and all that stuff, but it's all pirated. And they even put like made it look like it's official by putting his name in it. Let me shrink her. Yeah, that's I don't know. I don't. If you're on mobile, you might not be able to see it that well. Yeah, already ripping off the Rippaverse. Yeah, yeah. Somebody's trying to get some money real quick before that gets shut down. I mean, at the very least, they could have went with like some fan art, so it wouldn't be as obvious, and it would be harder to shut down. But they went with the same exact design that he's got on his shirts. So like that's stupid. That's just dumb. Yes, yes, it's bootleg Rippaverse merch. Um, yeah, it's illegal, and I've already let Rippa know about it. Like I found this last night while I was searching for Yaira art. So yeah, maybe he'll watch this and he'll see the website and everything, so he can get it taken care of. I'll let him know. I did my good deed for it, but I just want to show y'all like, hey, you know, support the official stuff. Don't buy the bullshit, please. Like support official, especially when it's the same exact shirt, right? Like if somebody had like a fan art, their fan art. I will clarify that their fan art on a shirt, and you wanted to buy it at a convention or something like that, go right ahead. If they did the art on it, but like he didn't say anything about it, so I don't know. Uh, but yeah, I seen him. I mean, I posted it to him publicly so he could see it. That hey man, that these guys are knocking you off. So like you might want to. Yeah, I don't know if you know this or not, but I'll let him know. And there was a bunch of them yesterday. Apparently he's already shut down some of them. There was a bunch of websites selling the same exact shit, right? So it may be the same couple guys doing it, but yeah, like I said, if you're gonna buy a knockoff shit, at a convention where somebody's selling, like they got their fan art on a shirt, like I'm relatively okay with that. Like I don't know about Ripper or anybody, but I'm more okay with that than I am, just blatantly ripping off the shirt, right? You got cover B with Yara? Yeah, yeah. I got that one. Like I got cover B, and that's the only one I've got so far. I'm gonna go back and get C, uh, before the campaign ends. But I wanted to make sure that I got my cover B yesterday because I wanted one of the limited number ones. Um, yeah, yeah, people knocking off Ripa already. Like it's ridiculous. Oh yeah, yeah, I've seen it. They come up with something new every day, man. They're trying to just make it look make it look bad or make so like if there were any precedents to it at all, then Marvel could step in and say, "Well, you're ripping off our character, right?" And they could put legal action against Rippa and hold the comic book and have it held in court for a while. But there's nothing there to say, right? That's what they're hoping to do. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if he doesn't shut it down, then it is just free advertisement. You know, somebody buying a cheaper product, which there's always going to be that. But that's a sign of success right there. If somebody's knocking off your, pirating your shit, then that's a sign of success. Like you've at least done so good that somebody made a cheaper version of something that you've got, and that is definitely a cheaper version. Like me, I'm not selling. I'm not going to do any merch with this channel. I've got a merch store for my other channel, but I'm not going to be doing any merch for this unless it's just quotes or some stupid shit like that. It'll be it won't be any actual Rippaverse stuff unless it's official merchandise, right? And that I bought or something like that. That's going to be the way. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're fucking ridiculous. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're definitely trying to create some drama with him, but that they obviously don't know Eric. If they're trying to, one, they either know they're going to be monetized, or two, they know that they're going to get that they don't know what they're getting into messing with Eric. But like I said, they're thinking that if they can get Marvel to pay attention to them or DC, that's why they keep calling out like, okay, you cannot do a ripoff of Icon and Power Man at the same time. Yeah, that's impossible. They're two very different characters. But somebody compared it to both. It's like it's Icon in, uh, you know, one of Power Man's costumes. I'm like, wait, what? What? Are you stupid? I mean, they got one thing in common, but yeah, for real. Yeah, they stupid. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're trying to defend the old guard, and they're like I said, they're hoping that Marvel or DC will be like, well, this character seems very similar to ours, but the thing is, that's not how copyrights work, right? You could throw a character in armor and a suit of Iron Man armor, as long as you don't call him Iron Man or Tony Stark, and he does not, his color scheme is different, right, than the trademark Tony Stark suit. Then you're not creating Iron Man. And if you name him something different, he could be Steel Man, he could be anything, and it's not Iron Man. As long as his story has to be different too. But you know, like they are way out the ball with that. That's just stupid. Like Power Man and Icon. Yeah, yeah. Icon's an alien. Icon doesn't even count in this. What's up, Hell Uh, but yeah. So and then them calling that out is, yeah, I mean, that's a stupid one. That is just retarded. Like Power Man, okay, yeah, I could see maybe the version from the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, right? Where they had the little team and they had the skinny little Power Man in it. But that's the only one that I could see like even close to this to Icon, and he's I mean, like I said, they've only got one thing in common. They don't even have a color scheme in common, right? Orange is not yellow. Orange is not a yellow T-shirt. Orange and black does not make a yellow T-shirt and chains. You know, so it's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. Austin doesn't dress like Luke Cage. Like, there's nothing about Austin that screams Luke Cage, and I don't think Austin's gonna have to power up at all. I mean, I think he's gonna be like his peak, and he's gonna stay there as far as that goes. You know. Yeah, yeah. Ripper probably never watched the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. I've got nieces and nephews. That's how I know it exists. You know, like if it wasn't the '90s Spider-Man cartoon or the one with Neil Patrick Harris from like the early 2000s, the CGI one that had Kingpin, like I really didn't watch them. Uh, Spider-Man was never really one of my characters. Like I've always liked the idea of Spider-Man. I've liked Venom. Venom is one of my favorites, but I've never liked Spider-Man's not never really been one of them. Um, they don't understand anything, man. That's the whole thing. Is they're hating to hate. They're trying. Like I said, they're probably trying to get Marvel or DC to look into it to shut it down, to try to shut it down legally. But legally, there's nothing they can do, and Marvel and DC know that. You know, they're not ripoffs, so there's nothing close to it. But them saying that, you know, and you're like, hey, it gets a legal team to start looking into to trying to do it. You know, try to get lawyers involved. You know, to try to do something with, right? But that's not how copyrights work. Not in real life. Online, sure, you can get a somebody else could do a copyright claim against somebody and get their page shut down. You know, somebody that's not even connected to a person can do that, and they've done it in the past, but they don't usually win after that. But yeah, so look, I'm willing to bet that they just Google black heroes, black superheroes, to try to look for ripoffs. You know, for any black superhero that they could claim. And like I was telling that story about the dude who had the blade character, the blade looking character yesterday. You know, and the dude got mad when you compared his character to Blade, but it looks like Blade. He dresses up in a costume that looks like Blade at conventions, and you give him a compliment and say, "Hey man, your Blade costume looks really good," and he gets mad about it because he's dressed as his own character. That's obvious, and he may not hunt vampires. I don't know what he does, but you know that's obviously like we know where your inspiration came from, or you wouldn't be getting mad about it, right? We know what you're ripping off of, or you wouldn't be getting mad at it. You'd be, you know, that's what it is. You think that your character is better than Blade, but nobody else does, right? So that's where, like, if I had a picture of the dude, I would show it on here just to, you know, just to show y'all what I'm talking about because I mean the dude looks like fucking Blade. Like Marvel should have hired him to be Blade in a movie, you know. But I'm talking about comics. He looks a little like Wesley Snipes, but he looks like comics Blade more than anything. But yeah, they're just trying to trying to push buttons and you know see if they can get anything out of it. Like Ripper going on Fox News last night, that was just, or yesterday morning, that was, you know, they hate that. There was a guy at at convention. He's got his own comic book series, right? But his main character, looks like Blade, right? And then the dude dresses as the main character every convention he shows up at. So he looks like he's dressed as Blade. And then you go if you go talk to him. I mean, the character even uses swords and shit, right? But he's got the black like body armor, the black duster, the sunglasses. I mean, it's Blade, right? And like, but the dude gets mad if you ask him if he's Blade, you know, if he's dressed as Blade. I was telling the story last night that I see this dude at a lot of conventions that I go to, and he dresses like Blade, and I'm just like, dude, you're obvious, your character's, you know, at least inspired by Blade. Like, it's not an original look. You know, you're either Neo, you're Black Neo, or you're uh, you know, Blade by the way you dress, dude, as your character. So I think he's self published through like Lulu or something like that. I don't think he's a Kickstarter guy. I think he's just like a self published guy. He's at local conventions and stuff like that. If I knew his name, I would you know I'd start looking for his Kickstarter just so I could show y'all the character. If I see him at a convention, I'll get a picture or something with him. You know, just to show y'all because I'm pretty famous around these conventions, around the local ones anyway, uh, because they know the characters that I dress as. So, and I've won a couple cosplay conventions, so they know a couple cosplay competitions, so they know, you know, who I am now. So yeah, I'll see if I can get a picture with him next time I see him at a convention, and I'll share it here. But yeah, it'll be yeah, he's that. I mean, it's that close to Blade. I wish if I knew the dude's name or any of that, I would pull it up right now. I know he's on Facebook, but I don't know his name or anything like that. But I would pull that up in a heartbeat just to show y'all, because like that. I mean, it's a but dude gets mad when you say it looks like Blade, you know, and then don't buy his comic because it looks like Blade. But I don't know. Um, but like that, he's obviously not a Kickstarter or anything like that or big enough because the Marvel would probably shut that down real quick just because of the character design, because that's where the trademark comes into play, right? Trademark is the design of a character. You can't copyright a suit. You know, it's one or the other. You copyright is one and trademark is the other, but you pretty much have to have both. But like you can't. You can put a character in a Spider-Man costume, right? As long as he's not named Spider-Man, he could be in that costume, and you could get away with it to a point, but the copyright of the trademark one is going to hit you. Um, the name will be the other that hits you. So if you have a character named Spider-Man that is not in the Spider-Man suit, then as long as you like do some slight variation of the name, it's legal. But this dude, so he's got a character dressed like Blade or a Matrix character, basically. But you know, that's just yeah. I mean, Bronze Tiger makes way more sense. Like specific versions of Bronze Tiger, yeah. Like if they were Deathstroke, you know, he it kind of looks like the Rebirth Deathstroke costume. If it had scales, you know, if it had the scale armor, it could fit the Rebirth Deathstroke costume, but have to have scales and chainmail as part of it too, and a mask, like the iconic Deathstroke mask. Yeah, so, but I mean, it's not either of those. So I don't know. Somebody was saying that the helmet, the visor guy was ripped off of John Diggle. And then Ripley's like, they have one thing in common. Oh yeah, probably. I mean, assassins are pretty standard for a superhero universe, so they were trying to say that it was a ripoff of Power Man's story and Icon's costume, and I'm like, wait, hold up, hold up. Um, oh yeah, he could be, but like their helmet guys, like that's the one that they were saying that looked like John Diggle, and like Rip was like, well, they got one thing in common. So, but it's all just coping, and they can't deal with it. One guy moved the goalpost today. Is like, oh, but you'll be bankrupt by issue 11. Like, dude, by issue 11, it'll be a couple years and many millions more. Yeah, pretty much. But no, they were saying that I think the helmet guy's black, but I don't know. Like that's what Ripple was leaning towards. Like, well, they have one thing in common. So, um, but yeah, I don't. And if you're gonna rip off a helmet guy, surely Ripper would pick somebody better than John Diggle, like a character that does not exist in the comic books. You know, or but yeah, they're stupid. They cannot understand. They can't understand what's going on. They they don't know why well, I mean, they do. They think that we hate. They cannot comprehend, right? Like I'm a white guy from Alabama. They cannot comprehend me supporting a black guy, right? In the slightest, they cannot comprehend that. Yeah, the CW trash show fans, exactly. But like they cannot comprehend somebody from especially from down south. You know, like, why are you supporting him? Um, I've been a fan for years, man. Why do you think I wouldn't support him? Hmm? But it sounds different again. Okay. I don't know. It may be auto correcting with that program. I have no clue. As long as y'all don't hear the air conditioner going, that's fine. If y'all start hearing the air conditioner, let me know. I'll turn it off. Um, but as long as it sounds good, I don't. I'm good. What if it changes? Whatever. It may just be auto correcting. Like I said, I got that program to block sounds. So as long as it sounds good. Um, and it could be that my voice is shot as well from last night. Like 5 hours is that's a lot of talking. But so if I lose the ability to talk today, y'all, we all know why. um, but yeah, so they're gonna keep moving the goalposts. They're gonna keep trying to change it up, and it's not going to be just. Yeah, I mean, I live like I said, I live in Alabama. You go without an air conditioner here for too long, you'll die. Like last night, 5 hours was it was about to cook me. Um, like I tried to stream a little bit after on I mean just for like a few minutes on Twitch after I ate last night, and my throat was hurting so bad. I'm just like, nope, I'm done. Like I'm gonna sit here and play my cat game for a minute. Cat simulator, just so I don't have to talk. Every time I want to talk, I'll just press the meow button. I was gonna play Kill by Kill, but it's got a block on it, like built into the game, so you have to stream it through a computer if you're going to stream it. It's going to break the internet. That's what the sales for Yara One's going to do. They're going to break the internet. Yeah, exactly. We do need more originality. I despise mantles unless it's a Green Lantern or something like that. I don't like them. Um, I don't go as far as to say that Supergirl is a tokenization of Superman because she falls under the sidekick like spectrum. So like I don't consider her a tribute character. She is her own character. Like Supergirl, She Hulk. Um, you could consider them kind of in the sidekick and related type of characters. I consider like Miles Morales though is he wasn't a sidekick, right? He was never like oh Peter's sidekick. Peter was dead in his universe, and he took the mantle, right? So that's different. Falcon was never a sidekick. He was never Cap's sidekick. They were partners for a little while in the comics, but he was never a sidekick. Bucky was at some point, So like I consider that insulting to Falcon, not Cap. It's insulting to Cap to Falcon to do that. For Miles, it's insulting to Peter, right? So there's two different kinds of insult there. Um, Val Zod is an insult to Superman, or Calvin Ellis. They're both insults to Superman. Yeah, he's working on that one too. Right now. I don't know if they're going to be able to do two more books this year. They might get them done, get them written, but they're not going to be able to do like two more campaigns this year. They might be able to squeeze one in right after, or about September maybe. Yeah, I hear you. Like I hear you, Yara. They don't know what originality is. The thing is, like, I think Chris Gore said it best. Like, there's no talent left. Like, they've got plenty of people working there, but they don't have any talent, and they've all been trained in the social justice stuff, not how to write. They don't have any natural talent among them, and that's why everything is sucking right now. Is because there's no talent, and there's not trying to be talent. Nobody's trying to get better. They're all trying to be, you know, the same. kind of, as far as it goes. Yeah, I mean, uh, I figure like we'll get in September. We'll get the other one around September, and then yeah, it could, yeah, that could very well work out if they get done with book 3 in time. Um, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, and if you're gonna tell, like, if you're gonna create another Spider-Man type character, Venom is the best one. Venom is the best alternate Spider-Man that there is because he doesn't get his powers from a radioactive spider. He got his powers from a suit that was Peter was wearing that copied his powers basically. So Venom is the best Spider-Man, best alternate Spider-Man. And like a Venom is a good example of something that can be worn on anybody, right? It can be anybody could become Venom or Venomized. If the suit leaves its host and gets on another host, that's a good example. Like, so if they wanted to make Miles popular, that's what they should have honestly done is gave him the Venom symbiote in Ultimates, right? In the Ultimate Universe, they turned him into the Ultimate Venom or the Ultimate Carnage, one or the other, and they left him as that instead of making him getting bitten by the same spider, right? That would have been the way to make Miles more interesting because the Venom symbiote was there. Eddie Brock Jr. was there. The Carnage symbiote was there. It got on Gwen. I mean, it's just like if they were going to do that, they should have did it like that, and I think people would have responded better to Miles. But no, they did it directly just to insult the fans, and that's where a lot of this started. Was like where they started to kind of lean towards insulting the fans was Miles because like I don't know about you guys, while watching the MCU, every, and they've always had little slight jabs towards the fans, right? Little bitty ones that you don't notice. Okay. And then you have Loki, right? Loki, the series. In the first episode, they call the MCU the sacred timeline. Okay. And there was no multiverse before Loki in that universe because it was all getting wiped out. Okay. And that's fine to a point, but that's kind of a punch to the gut of the comic book readers, right? Because you're like, okay, well, it may exist in a different multiverse, right? It may not be within, but then you remember that everything that happens in Marvel is all part of the same multiverse. Every movie, everything, they are actually all canon, believe it or not, to the same multiverse. Okay, so we got that. They're all canon to the same multiverse. You can say it's a different universe all you like, but they're all. It's not like DC has 3 separate multiverses. I think they've got like because they've only got 52 universes. So anytime you hear the words infinite universes in a DC show or something like that, they're not part of the new 50 of the 52 universes. So they're part of the old comic books lore, the old comic books canon, right? With the infinite universes as part of it. So there's 3 or 4 multiverses in DC, while Marvel only has the one. Every universe has a number, and they've given a number. They had given a number to the MCU when Iron Man came out. Okay, it was Earth 199999. Okay, that was because that was the year that 1999 is the year that the X-Men movie came out. So they gave That year, that number to the MCU because Kevin Feige worked on it. Okay, Kevin Feige worked on the X-Men movie. Okay, so then you go to Loki, and they call it the Sacred Timeline, and that's kind of a fuck you to the comic book fans. We've expected that by now. You know, we're used. Comic book fans are used to getting a fuck you from the movies, right? Okay, so that's okay. We're used to it. You look at WandaVision. Okay, WandaVision gives a giant fuck you to the X-Men movie fans, right? With Quicksilver. Yeah. So, with that, I mean, like, so Quicksilver was a giant fuck you to the X-Men movie fans. That's all it was. It was a troll. All WandaVision was a giant troll to the fans. Okay. Which again, comic book fans are used to it. MCU fans are like, huh? Why are you insulting us? You know, why are we? If they even thought about it like that, most people didn't. But then you got Loki. Loki gets called the Sacred Timeline, and then the multiverse gets created, right, within Loki. And then you got Doctor Strange, and they call the fucking universe the 616. Okay, they call that fucking universe the 616 in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which means that it's the same exact universe as the comic book universe. Which means that in Loki, the multiversal war that they're talking about that ended that they fixed. That means that the MCU is the universe after the comics, right? That's what that means. So it's the next multiverse over from the comic books. That's why the comic books start to shift and start to look like the MCU, right? The characters start to act like them. That's what happens, right? And that's a giant insult. That's a giant middle finger to all of the fans who, and then look, you know, they had the Infinity Stones in the drawer, right? That's a fuck you to the MCU fans, right? Who sit there for 10 years and supported them and watched that shit and watched how important those stones were just to be laying in a drawer, right? That's a fuck you, and that's what Marvel did. Marvel said fuck you. DC also said fuck you. Okay, they said fuck you with giving you Zack Snyder to do anything with it, and then hiring Joss Whedon to do the same thing, right? To fix it. That's a fuck you. Making Batman crack jokes is a fuck you to Batman fans, right? Making Giving you the Snyder cut, right? And then like, well, we're not giving you any more. There's no more Snyderverse. Period. That's a fuck you, right? That's not them bending the knee to the fans and, you know, like giving the fans what they wanted. That's them saying, here's a piece. Here's what you could have had, but we're not going to give you the rest, right? Because you didn't like the first cut, right? You shut down the first cut. Y'all, you bitched and complained because we basically made Avengers, you know, a cheaper Avengers movie. That's what DC did. DC also says they don't want you as fans because, you know, you got Kenobi. Kenobi was the same deal. Yeah. Oh, they needed to recoup some fees. That's all it was. Like they knew that Star Wars fans would come back to Disney Plus just to watch Kenobi and Thor being right after that. Moon Knight was supposedly good. I didn't watch it, but it was supposedly good up until the end of it. And then they race swapped, you know, Scarlet Scarab or whatever her name is, Crimson Scarab, Red Scarab. Like they race swapped her, and you know it turned MCU real quick. But like it's they don't respect. You know, Eric says it all the time. They don't respect you. They want you to give money and they want you to shut up and they want you to consume. All right, just consume and don't think about it. Turn your brain off. That's an insult. When somebody tells you to turn your brain off so you can enjoy something, like well, DC's fucked the animated stuff up too by going New 52. Anytime they go New 52 with anything, that's a fuck you, right? That's a fuck you to the fans because they're trying to push that crap and make it work because they didn't want to uh, pay the families of people, you know, who sued for the rights to the characters, you know. They just didn't want to pay. So they changed personalities and made characters stupider. New 52, anything New 52 is insulting, right? Unless it's a different, any of the main characters anyway. Like, I'll say it, that Deathstroke in New 52 was good. His stories were good. Um, any of the random characters that they didn't have to pay for, right? That they didn't have to really pay for were done okay. They were done great, even. But other characters that they had to, like Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, any of them that are Aquaman was done good. I'll give New 52 Aquaman. Yeah, DC and Rebirth. Well, I never gave Rebirth a shot. Like I came back to read one issue of it, and that was Deathstroke versus Superman, and I never looked back. So I mean, I get it. It's like that was the last issue I actually paid for with DC. I never looked back to get them again. With Marvel, it was like I said, it was the first issue with Null as Venom, and I had come back to buy that. Null, and the Symbiote God or whatever his name is. I bought the first issue with him in it, and that was all. And then I sold that comic. I don't even have it anymore. Yeah, that's a fuck you. Yeah, that's 100% fuck you. The changing X-Men to the mutants, like that's, and they're gonna go with the racial minority, or they'll probably go with the modern X-Men, where it's you know alphabet community politics with them. Probably what they'll do. And I guarantee you there's going to be some kind of subtext about child grooming in it. If they go with like Charles Xavier and them, there's going to be some kind of subtext there. Like suddenly the X-Men are going to be younger, you know. And yeah, oh Charles is going to look like creepy old pedophile. Yeah, like if they even go with Charles as being it, like I said, they're gonna there's gonna be some fucking child grooming message in it, hidden in the details if you watch it. Yeah, the year ones. I mean, there's a lot of stories that DC did amazing back in the day, but like the last good story I think that DC actually did, like as far as an arc goes, was like probably Brightest Day or Blackest Night and Brightest Day. Those were probably the last two that they've done exceptionally well. Uh, Dark Side War was interesting in New 52, but it was also the beginning of the end of the character for Darkseid because they ruined Darkseid early in New 52. Um, like that's just how that stuff goes. But they're going to ruin stuff. Like I mean, I don't mind if it has one bad story in it or a bad arc because those happen, right? Uh, Bad stories and bad arcs they happen in stories. That's why like I'm gonna be honest with the Rippaverse stuff. I'm gonna be 100% honest with it. When I'm reviewing it, I'm not going to be lenient on it. I'm going to be. I'm not going to nitpick it to pieces, but I'm gonna like. Does the character look like the character in every page of this book? Does he look the same? You know, is he the same height? Stuff like that. That stuff kind of glaring. That's the only real parts about the art I'm going to look at. But the story, I'm going to go through the story. I'm going to read it a couple of times before I do a review. I'm going to do a non-spoiler review, and then I will probably do a spoiler review later that week. To give everybody a chance to read it. And I'll give my take on it. I'm going to be looking for objective stuff, not necessarily subjective stuff is one thing. Like that's if you didn't like it, objective is objectively bad or good. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's how that goes. So I'm going to be looking for objective stuff more than I am subjective stuff. I may have opinions on it, but I'll share those opinions. Um, I can forgive. I can forgive a bad arc, man. I can forgive. Yes, destroying the established characters. I can't abide that because you can always get better at writing. That's the key thing. Like that's why the first book is going to face the least scrutiny from anybody on our side. It's not going to have much much to judge off of, right? Because we don't know the universe. Now, in a couple of years, when we've gotten multiple stories, we know the personalities of these characters, and we know how they act, we know how they would react. Then we will be a little bit more, like, okay, well, is he acting like himself? Is he acting like he would act? Because fans know this. We can pick up on how characters act. And if a character is real, if a character feels real, then you can't just pick out a single trait of them, right? You'll pick out the entire character of the character. Um, you know that okay, so Hal Jordan, he's got a Green Lantern ring. Why is he the most powerful Green Lantern? Why is he the best Green Lantern? Okay, when you've got John Stewart, who is an architect, and he designs stuff, you know, he's an architect and a marine, and then you've got Kyle, who is a comic book artist, and he can create stuff. He's got a better imagination than Hal. Why is Hal the best Green Lantern? Because Hal has the most willpower of the Green Lanterns. Like all three of them, Hal is the best because he doesn't need to just sit there and build a construct from the ground up like John does. John has to build it if he's building a skyscraper construct, he's building that construct. Every rivet goes into place and everything. It slows him down doing it. Kyle is going to throw a fucking dragon at you. He's going to throw something imaginative at you. And he's going to seem like he's the most powerful. And then Hal is going to have the most willpower. So he's got better control over his ring than either of the other two do. That's what makes him the best Green Lantern. Like, but does willpower make a character? Yes, 100%. Like, that's his defining quality, is that he's got more willpower than the other Green Lanterns. Okay, and we'll throw Sinestro in here. Okay, so Sinestro is the Yellow Lantern. He's the leader of the Sinestro Corps. Why is he the best Yellow Lantern? Because he still thinks of himself as a fucking Green Lantern. Okay, in his mind, he never stopped being a Green Lantern. So, and he can also, zap everybody with his ring. So he can kill his entire corps with just by thinking about it with his ring. So I mean that's just, but Sinestro is evil space Hitler. So you know he's all about order, which falls in line with the willpower aspect. But you have to keep your character in check. Batman never stops being Batman. That is his defining feature. Is that Bruce Wayne is the mask, not Batman. He's always Batman. He's been Batman since he was 10 years old. Okay, Bruce Wayne is the act. That's the one that he puts on. Clark Kent is really who Superman is. You know, they're swapped, right? So Clark is the real identity, and Superman is the suit. Even though he was born Superman, right? The mask is Superman is the persona that he wears. Oh yeah, I mean that's cool. I like John Stewart. I like Hal. I like Kyle. Sinestro is my favorite of all the lanterns. Is Sinestro. And y'all gonna, once y'all get to know me better, y'all are gonna realize that I love villains. Like, villains are my favorite characters of all time. But I love a good villain, and I despise an MCU villain. Like, I cannot stand a MCU villain. What's up, I am? But yeah, like, if Yara turns out to be a villain, I'm gonna love it. She will become my favorite character if she becomes a villain. Like, hands down, like, favorite character. Like, she's the best. Um, Awesome is obviously not going to be a villain because he's, the main character of the comic, and I hope that Rippa does not fall down the sympathetic villain trope. Like, I hate that trope so much. Like, is not a fan of it. And I've read the books of Doom. With Doctor Doom's childhood. That's where they try to Reverse Flash. Reverse Flash is great. Well, depending on which one it is. We're talking about Thrawn or Eobard. Yeah, there he's the best. The other one's kind of shit, but like I'm not even Barry is my favorite Flash. Barry Allen. I don't like. I despise Ezra Miller's Flash. I despise the guy from Arrowverse. I hate his Flash. Um, they don't look like either one of them. Unnamed villain. Okay, well, that's cool. Um, his favorite character is an unnamed villain. Well, that'll probably be. I lean more towards villains. Like, I always have. Certain stories, I lean very much in favor of the villain to win, because sometimes it's just fucking retarded to not root for the villain in that case. But the villain doesn't have to be sympathetic at all. Like Thanos in the comic books, he worships death, the character of death. You know, he worships death. He was in love with death. That's why he snapped the universe in half, right? Because he wanted to commit the most murders at one time to impress her. That was all it was about. It wasn't about resources or bullshit like that. Thanos snapped, and then I think most people don't understand about the snap. Okay, the snap is not important. Okay, in the movies, in the MCU, they use the snap as that's the way to activate that specific ability, right? You snap, and whatever you want happens, right? That's not how it works. Thanos did the snap in the comic books just to show that that's all it took, right? It was just a point of snapping, right? I've got all the Infinity Stones. Snap. In the comics, the Infinity Stones are stronger than they are in the MCU. They're way more powerful, and they're not lethal to anybody who uses them. So it's snap, and half the universe is gone. Not half your body is destroyed by snapping, which is retarded. Okay? But, like, that was the whole point of it. Thanos worships death. And he gave... And death in Marvel is very different from death in DC. Death in DC is very neutral, but she's friendly. She's super friendly. She does not require people to die to keep her power. Okay? She does not need people to die because she's both life and death. Death in DC, she requires people to die to have power. Right? They have to be constantly dying or she can't have her power. She's half of what death in DC is. She is only death. Death in DC is life and death. So, yeah, Thanos should have won. Thanos was right. Thanos should have killed the entire MCU and left it dead. But, yeah, so... Thanos tried to save us from Phase 4, man. He tried. Movie Thanos tried to save us from Phase 4. It just didn't work. Damn Avengers got in the way. And damn Avengers got in the damn way. But, I mean, Phase 4 is, it's killing Marvel slowly. So that's a good thing. Like I said the other night, when normies start to pick up on it, that's when you know you're starting to win, right? It's when the normies pick up on it. You don't really know if you're doing any good at first, right? Doing stuff like this alternate stuff, you fight it and you feel like alone while you're fighting it until you find a community that you fit into. But your community just seems so it kind of seems small until something like Rippaverse happens. You don't know how many people are there, but then there's at least $3 million worth of Rippaverse fans out there. So, but we are the side with the money. So, but it's the normies that actually tip the scales when it comes to movies, right? Comics not so much, but movies, the normies are the ones who tip the scales. So if you can get a normie to sit and watch your movie and like it, that's where you win, right? So you got the scales, well, let's see. Eternals, trash, right? You got Shang-Chi, more trash. You got Spider-Man No Way Home. Okay, well that one was okay, right? So it raises the scale back up because the normies locked it. And then you got, oh, hey man, we welcome normies here. You know, it's just I just refuse to argue with normies, with comic book normies. And that's all that is. I don't argue with them. Once I realize somebody's a normie, I just kind of like, okay, yeah, go learn some shit. You know, I don't want to turn you off in space. I just want to, you know, go that way and get educated. Here's a book. You know, go read that. um, but so yeah, let's say okay. So Captain Marvel. We'll go all the way back to Captain Marvel. So Captain Marvel shoehorned in. Nobody really liked it. It kind of split the fan base a little bit because there are people who loved it, and there are people that were like, "I'm bored. Captain Marvel is boring," and that's the normies, right? And then you've got the comic book fans over here who are like, "Okay, well, it's what they did to Marvel is criminal, so it drops, right? It's not good. It's less good than anything else that has come out before, and that is, you know, Iron Man 3. That didn't drop it at all, but it was terrible, right? Because normies still went and watched it. Normies still went and paid money for it. Thor 2 was the best Thor movie as far as the comics go, but it wasn't objectively good by normie standards. And that's what you got to pay attention to here when it comes to movies. So the normie standards are they're fickle. Normie standards are. We can like something that's niche, that we understand 100%, that works, right? But it could also be objectively bad to other people, or subjectively bad to other people. So then you have Endgame, okay? You got Infinity War. Infinity War raises that back up, right? Endgame drops it down just a little bit because of the fucking time heist, right? That retarded shit with time. Okay, so you're trying to explain this insane concept that people don't understand, that normies don't get because they don't read comic books, instead of going like Back to the Future where it's digestible, right? So you got Endgame drops it, right? And then the Thanos that they killed is not even the Thanos that did this shit to them, right? It's a new Thanos. It's a Thanos from the past. It's retarded, right? Okay, and then you have the MCU shows. For comic book fans, they're terrible, and then for normies, they're kind of in between, right? They don't realize they're being insulted by it. But some of them pick up on other stuff just like that. What's up? Okay, yeah, but some people pick up on that other stuff, right? And it just keeps sinking down, and this hand keeps rising up. You know, the scale keeps rising up while this one's sinking. All right, so the little insults, the little pokes at it that make the entire 10 years that these people have spent watching this movie pointless, right? They weigh that down. The normies start to pick up on that, right? And they start to pick up on, well, by the time of Doctor Strange, you know, you've got America Chavez getting shoehorned in. They haven't even realized that the rest of the Young Avengers have already been shoehorned in, right? The entire series, all the series were to bring in the Young Avengers, right? You've got the twins in one division. You've got Patriot and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? And then they shoehorn in Falcon becoming Captain Falcon, right? So you've got that, and then people are paying attention to it. And then they have the racial politics in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is the stupidest scene in any of the MCU. I don't care. This is stupider than anything that happened in Captain Marvel. Okay, and that was pretty stupid. It's not as criminal, but it's stupider. Okay, so how many of you have seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Right, so if you've seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you know that there's a scene. And this scene is where 90% of the audience left. Okay, so they have a Black Lives Matter moment with Falcon. Okay, and Bucky. Falcon and Bucky are there, okay, in this scene. Everybody knows who these guys are. Everybody knows who the Avengers are, right? There's the only hero with a secret identity in the entire MCU is Spider-Man. Okay, keep that in mind. He's the only one with a secret identity. Okay, so everybody knows who Falcon is. Everybody knows who Winter Soldier is. And then these cops pull up. But they're in a black neighborhood. Okay? First off, cops don't really patrol black neighborhoods that much. Okay? But second of all, the cops, you know, they do the whole Black Lives Matter moment with Falcon, right? The cops are kind of interrogating what's going on. Like they don't recognize who the fuck Falcon is, right? How do you not recognize two Avengers? I mean, one of them I could get it if it was just one of them standing there, right? But two of them standing there. One of them has a fucking metal arm. Everybody knows who these people are. There's no secrets about it, right? Yeah. So I mean, it's fucking stupid, right? And then, but they introduced Patriot in that, and most people didn't even notice it, right? Elijah's grandson is Patriot. He's the Captain America for the Young Avengers, right? He's the Elijah's grandson, yeah. He's Patriot. So they've introduced 3 of the Young Avengers in 2 series. Okay, then you have Hawkeye, and I'm going to be honest right now. Hawkeye is my favorite of the MCU series, right? It's hands down my favorite, and that's just because it's like a Christmas adventure. Like I liked Hawkeye. But you know, so they introduced Kate Bishop in that, but that was Kate Bishop's show. That was not Clint's show. It was never meant to be Clint's show. That's pretty much, it's kind of on the nose for the comics. It's not really exactly the comics, but it's not far from the comics either. Okay, so Loki, but Kate Bishop is the leader of the Young Avengers. Okay, so they got her. That's 4. That's 4 in 3 shows. Okay, Loki. They introduced Kid Loki. Kid Loki is the 5th member. Okay, so you've got 5 right there. Okay. That's 5 Young Avengers right there in the span of 4 shows, right? Spider-Man could fit in the same age group as them, but yeah. So you've got all of the Young Avengers other than one, and that one can't exist now because in Captain Marvel, you made Marvel non-existent. You made Marvel a woman. Okay? So the one character, or one of the characters that can't exist, period, is Hulkling. And Hulkling is a gay character. He's gay with Wiccan, you know, Scarlet Witch's magic kid. They're gay. Okay? So they've gotten rid of gay characters, like, but yeah, Hulkling is Marvel's son. And he can't exist without the original Captain Marvel. So they've made him non-existent. They replaced, kind of put She-Hulk in it. So that by them shoehorning these characters in early, they've made it to where they can't fucking do certain things that they would, you know, get praised for by their own side. Right? I mean, they can, but they have to go about weird ways of doing it. Like making one the evil and then pulling the twins from another world. Right? I like Zemo in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but that was about it. Um, but yeah, so like they got the kids all together. They just got to get them all together now, right? But they've got the kids. They picked some of them that are extremely on the young side, and then they've got the leader and America Chavez. She was the last one to be introduced, and Kamala Khan. Those two, they fall into the Young Avengers, the newer Young Avengers team. So, but you got them, okay? So you can't have Hulkling, but you got America Chavez, right? And America Chavez can travel through universes, whatever. They set all of it up so they could get the entire the entirety of Phase 4 has been about getting these kids in there because that's the gayest fucking team that exists. That's what it is. 100%. That's the gayest team. They even say it in the comic books. Kate says it to America. She's like, I'm seriously the only straight member of this team. So, I mean, like, they don't know what they're doing with it by bringing these characters. I mean, some people have read the comics, some people know, but the normies don't know these characters. They don't care about these characters, right? That's why they're introducing them early, is to try to yes, Adam Warlock should have been introduced in Infinity War. Like they should have did a Thanos origin story. I agree with Rippa on that. They should have done they should have had him fight the original Marvel and then fought Adam and not met Adam Warlock. Phase 4 is the Cancerverse, yeah. Phase 4 will give you cancer, yeah. That's 100%. Yeah, Adam Warlock should have been introduced, and the real Marvel should have been introduced instead of Jude Law should have been playing Marvel, right? And the original script, I believe he was, but at the same time, so the Dark Phoenix script, like the reason that it got kind of scrapped for a little bit before it came out, right there when it was about to come out, is because they were going to use the Skrulls. Okay, so the Skrulls were part of the Fantastic Four copyright, which belonged to Fox. Disney really didn't have the rights to use them. So that's why the Skrulls are very different in the Captain Marvel movie. They look the same, but they're very different. But Marvel didn't have the rights to it. Just a little fun fact there. But okay, no, no. Okay, so the thing is that it's I've never had a problem with a gay character before, like never. Well, I watch Spartacus, right? And that's every episode of Spartacus. There's something gay going on in that. I never have a problem with it. I've got friends that are gay. You'd think they were straight. If you talk to them, um, you don't have most people don't have a problem with it in movies and stuff unless it's just shoved down your throat, right? So them changing characters to be gay and them do bad writing doesn't help at all. It's not subtle. Like nobody in the 80s cared that North Star was gay. He's the first gay Marvel character. Nobody gave a shit about North Star, right? Because it wasn't on the nose. It wasn't just shoved down your throat that he was a gay character. He wasn't jumping out at pride parades and all that. He was a superhero who happened to be gay. Okay. The same with honestly the Young Avengers with Wiccan and Hulkling. They were just gay characters. They weren't, retarded with it. back when when they were originally written. Now, but yeah, people. I mean, people thought that Robin was gay in the Adam West show. People thought that Batman and Robin were gay, and then they were in that. They very much were in that. They would argue, but they like DC sued somebody for saying that. Yeah. So I mean, like the fact that a character is gay has nothing to do with it. It's when it's all about identity politics. Like, what is Miles Morales' one defining character trait? Like the one trait he has that makes him different from Peter is that he's black, right? That's the only defining trait he has. Nothing else he does separates him from being Peter. North Star before all of this, and they don't even pay attention to North Star, right? North Star is one of the characters that they ignore because North Star was never popular, right? North Star was never a big flagship character for them. He was part of Alpha Flight, right? Alpha Flight has never been a big seller for them. They've got their market, but they're a niche comic. Yeah, the exaggerated swagger of a black teen. That's his defining character trait. um, but like North Star was never even thought about, right? To try to make him popular, right? You have a black Captain America. His name is Luke Cage. Okay, they basically got the same powers, only he's bulletproof, right? But he doesn't have to be a black character. Just I mean, he doesn't have to be a Captain America, but he's a black Captain America. Basically, he's just bulletproof. This is his only difference is between him and Cap is he's bulletproof. He doesn't have to have the shield. So I mean, they got about the same strength level. I think Luke's a lot stronger, but I mean, he's a street level character. Like you have Luke step up and join the Avengers, or something like that again, but instead you've got Falcon. You got this character that's never really sold well because he's a dude in a bird costume, but he's an interesting character in other people's books, right? Yeah. So they turn him into Captain America. That's pointless, right? It's identity politics for the sake of it. Corporate pandering, yes, that is, and it's a lot of them bending the knee to the alphabet people, right? So I read this thing, and it was talking about like Roe v. Wade, right? And it was this gay guy was talking about it because people were saying, and if I can find it, I'll actually show it on here one day, but I'll have to go look for it through my Twitter stuff. Um, but this guy says like he's gay, and he's like, "You're the reason that if any of our rights are overturned, you're the reason for it." And he's talking about um, the entire community, right? And he's talking about their whole community. He's like, "You're the reason because none of it was ever enough for you. We have the rights. We have the same rights. You kept pushing. I mean, it's just like, you wanted to involve their kids, right? That's, you kept pushing. It's basically what he says. It's just you kept pushing them. You pushed the corporations into flying your flag, all that. And it was pretty much just like, if you lose your rights, it's your fault because of this. If we all lose our rights, it's your fault. Is how he put it. But I'll have to pull it up. I can't paraphrase it because it's been over a month. It was during that Roe v. Wade stuff. So, but yeah, so I mean, it's just about all of that. It's that's what it comes down to. Is that's why people hate that kind of stuff. If Disney would have left it alone and not said anything about the gay kiss in Lightyear, it would have made billions of dollars just for being a Toy Story tie-in. But they had to say something about it. They had to virtue signal. So now, we instantly associate virtue signaling as, well, fuck you. Fuck you. We don't want your money. That's what we equate that to now. Instead of, like, oh, look what we did for your community. It like, no, you're pushing people away. It's what you're doing. You're pushing people out of fandoms that they enjoy. With all of that, it's always been about that. It's pushing the bad elements out of the fandoms. And they tried to do it for years with Star Wars, like try to push all the fans out, the real fans of it out, so that they've got their own little sandbox to play in. If they can piss all of us off and we quit caring, quit watching it, they can do what they want and not have to hear it. But at the same time, they want people like Eric and Geeks and Gamers and all them to actually talk about it at least a little bit, because that makes the other side want to watch it more. Yes, Rippaverse is going to give us something happy to read. So we're all a part of a new fandom. Like, we are all a part of this massive fandom that's on our side. Like, we got the best part of the internet. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Yara. That's not a character trait. And skin folk don't make you kinfolk, as Eric would say. Oh, no, I mean, it's definitely your actions. I could honestly give a fuck what color somebody is. It's just it's not something I've ever cared about. A lot of people don't understand it. Like what I tell them, like the South is not as racist as you think we are. There are some racists here, and you know who they are. They're the old fucking Democrats. They're the 80 and 90-year-old Democrats, or the slightly younger guys that were raised by the old Democrats. They're the racists. Like everybody my age and down, like we're all in the same boat, right? We all, our parents worked together. They all got the same job. We all got the same opportunities here, you know, and we all have the same struggles. A lot of us do. A lot of us we work together. We all just we get along. My age and down for sure. Like we get along with other races that we, especially the ones we grew up with, right? Because we relate to each other, and where that other people can't understand. And like they're like, "Oh, you're from the South. You got to be racist." I'm like, "No, no. I've gone to California, and they kept trying to get me to like say something racist, right? And these were white liberals that were trying to get me to say something racist, and I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I don't care enough to, right? I'm not even gonna get mad and do it because it's not in me to just be blatantly racist for no fucking reason like you know. And it's always white liberals and old white Democrats, old white conservative Democrats. Like people don't understand that. Like I've never met a Republican or a libertarian that's actually been racist. Like actually racist, not says a word or whatever. You know, every now and then. Yeah, a hero's journey, exactly. Um, yes, he was. He knew 50 years ago. He knew. You know, he knew exactly what they were doing, and they did it. But yeah, it's that's how it goes, though. People went the Martin Luther King route instead of the Malcolm X route, but you know, that's that's fine. It's just like I don't care for it. I don't care for any of that shit. And most people my age around here don't. Right? Like we all get along. Like I've got mixed nephews. You know, I don't give a fuck about race. That doesn't matter to me. What does matter to me is where you're from. Because if I hear you're from California and I don't know you, I know a few people out in California. They're good people. But if I don't know you and you're from California, I'm kind of like suspicious of you. If I hear you're from New York, I'm very suspicious of you. You know, like you can call me xenophobic if you want. You know, outsiders because um, Alabama and Mississippi are not the same place. Like we may look alike, we may talk alike, but there's some weird people in Mississippi. Uh, oh yeah, exactly, exactly, Yara. The hate he's gotten. You're from New York. Well, I'm slightly suspicious of you. I mean, you just, you know, but I'm kidding, of course. But like, I see anybody like who moves from New York down here, like, man, I respect that. You know, you get out of that shit. But I got some friends in New York too. But I got friends from all over. I'm friends with an Irishman who is he did one of the DNA tests, right, to see what if there was any like Viking or anything in him, and it turns out his family has never left that fucking town that they would have been like from the beginning of being able to trace it back. They never his family has never left. They've never there's nothing else but Irish in him. Like, and I already know like this the shill comments are I'm already getting called a shill for Eric. But like I don't I laugh at that shit. It's stupid. Like I'm not getting paid to do this, guys. I'm doing this for the fuck of it. Like it was something to do. Like I'm a fan of Eric's, yes. I will fight by his side any day, against those assholes. But I'm not a shill. If Eric sent me a free comic book, first off I'd be like, okay, who the fuck are you? you know? Like, alright, you're not Eric July, who the fuck are you? But I'd send it back. Or give it to one of y'all. um, if Eric offered to pay me for this, I'd tell him no. It's just like I am a shield for the separate economy. Yes, 100%. I'm down for that. Like I don't. I'm not just my integrity means more to me than anything. But I will fight dirty. Don't put it past me. I will fight dirty. Honor doesn't mean shit to me, but my integrity does. I'll throw sand in your face and laugh at you, then call you a retard. Yeah. I mean, I will fight dirty if it comes to for like protecting, especially like protecting this community or my real life community, stuff like that. All the rules are out the window, right? When it comes to protecting like this community, I will defend it. I will go low blows. I don't mind at all. Like I don't have that little bit of conservatism that holds me back from doing dishonorable shit. I will dishonor will go dishonorable if you go dishonorable. That's how it goes. I mean, we're not in a ring. I boxed a little bit in my 20s and did a little MMA in my 20s. So I hadn't been in a good fight since my 20s. But yeah, it's just you can't fight like they do. Eric says it all the time. You don't go out starting it, but damn sure you don't take if they go dirty, you go dirty. I mean, don't think to their level, but at the same time, you fight fire with fire. Exactly. I mean, I will 100% fight fire with fire. That's why, but most of the time it ends after I just call them a retard and go on about my business. Sometimes I'll have that one that just wants to continue to argue, but I mean, just like don't let anybody, especially like in the online space, bully you for damn sure. Like, don't let anybody bully you in real life either. But you know what I mean. Like in online space, they can't do shit, right? Yeah, that's the problem. Is they keep trying. They'll keep trying to come into our space, and I'm just saying, like, don't. Yeah, we need a full national divorce. Don't get me wrong here. We need that. But I'm just saying, like, don't let anybody, bully you online, especially if you're a younger person listening to this. I want y'all to hear this, okay? Because the older guys, we know we've actually been bullied in real life, right? But don't let anybody bully you online. That is fucking ridiculous. Don't let them do it because they will and they can if you let them, but don't let them. Call them fucking retarded and move on, right? If you see a conversation going south and you know you're not winning that conversation, step away from that conversation. Simple as that. You don't have to answer anybody on here. That's the greatest thing about the internet is you do not have to answer to anybody, right? Like this channel is my space. This is my world, right? So, and you guys are part of that world. You guys are in it too. This is your world too, right? By all means, mods, if somebody comes in here and they're being a dumbass, you know what to do. Just boot their asses. Like if I see it, I'll laugh at them. I'll make fun of them in the video. But like just boot their asses, whatever you have to do. I don't care. I'm not gonna. I will never. You know, call out my mods for booting somebody out of the chat. I don't give a shit. I will agree wholeheartedly with my mods. Um, any idea what her powers are? I think that they are elemental related, and that every element she summons is going to be the color blue. So, kind of the fire aura she's got. The hair, like the blue hair, stuff like that. I think that it's all elements. Because she's seen using ice powers in the poster, and then she can fly, and she's got the blue like Super Saiyan aura around her. So I think that it's 100% elemental based. But welcome to the chat, Cool X84. Well, yeah, I am. I'm not into politics either. I don't like them. I despise politics. I despise politicians. I I don't like any of them. I don't like people that they get into that space either. I don't trust any of them. I'm pretty sure there's a pedophile cult. That to get into that space you have to do some stuff where they can blackmail you. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, I don't like pedophiles. I don't like the government. And there's just too many stories about the government, people in the government being pedophiles. I don't like it. So I'm glad this is 2.5 hours in before I said that part. Otherwise, I'd be demonetized. Luckily, I'm not monetized already. So, but yeah, I'm just I prefer culture over politics. 100%. You change the culture, you change the politics. That's how it works. And what we're doing here is trying to change the culture. So, yeah, I'm 100% on that. But yeah, as far as the powers go, that's what I'm thinking is that it's elemental based. Yeah, I'm definitely not a political guy as far as it goes. I'm very apolitical, but I'm anti-political. Let's put it like that. Uh, like culture is more important than politics, and the pendulum always swings back and forth. So it's swinging back now towards the right. So a little bit. It may go full stop and turn back around, but Disney actually by revealing themselves, with the Florida thing, they kind of turned the normies onto it. It's what happened. I'm thinking that's what kind of turned the normies onto it. And of course, we just got out of lockdowns and all that shit, not too long ago. Of course, I'm in Alabama, so my lockdowns were very short as far as that goes. But businesses are still suffering from that around here. Like some never opened back up. But yeah, our mask mandates and lockdowns didn't last too long here. You can't keep a bunch of rednecks, inside too long. We had the initial 2 weeks lockdown, and that was the busiest week I've ever seen at my old job. I mean, the busiest week was the first couple weeks of COVID, and then that was the busiest year I've ever seen of working at that job. So, but yeah, mm, and yeah, and I'll go into this even further with her. I think that she knows Awesome, that they've worked together before, probably on a team. Moving to Texas when you get the chance. That's cool. Um, oh, but yeah. I'm just. We are at 108 subscribers. Cool. Uh, hmm. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna add something to my thing here. Not that. Don't click on that. Let's see. Let's see here. You're just gonna. Yeah. 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 Just a second, guys. No, isn't that cool? The wrong date on there. There we go. Smallville when Clark met the metahuman. Maybe. Um, I don't know how he's going to introduce people or anything like that. Just I think it's going to be a very a crime drama to start with, a superhero crime drama, kind of leaning more towards Batman than anything else. Maybe Batman during the day. That's what I'm thinking is for the first one anyway. But yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. And sorry, today is kind of an off day for me. I did a 5 hour stream last night, and my voice is not recovered yet. But yeah, it's let me see here. Where is it? All right. But yeah, I mean, it could be a way to introduce new people anyway. I think that Isom knows Yara, and I think he knows the Alpha Core for sure. At least the big guy in the Alpha Corps. Like I said, I think originally they were probably a team before big guy was on Alpha Team, Alpha Corps. I think that it was the three of them as a team, but that's just my running theory so far. Is that the three of them work together? But yeah, I'm waiting to get some more information. That's what I want more information about the universe. I want to know how the world works, what the rules are for the universe, so that I can better, um, you know, theorize with it. What incident made I couldn't give up being a hero? Um, he would have had to have failed somehow, or maybe maybe it just wasn't for him. It could have been. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be like Jessica Jones, where she started out as a superhero and then became a detective. I'm gonna say that it's more along the lines of he failed to save somebody important to him. I'd look more towards the old tropes that worked and were really good than I would the new subversions of said tropes. So I'm thinking that he probably lost somebody important to him that he couldn't save, like the Spider-Man way of quit being Spider-Man, right? That's probably the best answer I can give you for that right now, Yara. Hey everybody, so subscribe for Yara. She's in the chat. We got Yara in the chat. uh, but yeah, I'm thinking maybe he might not have been able to control his powers then either. You know, it might have been like a something that went wrong with his powers that caused the incident that made him give up being a hero. Like something like that. He could have caused an accident or uh, wasn't able to save somebody. There's a lot of old tropes that could be pulled for that. But I just don't know right now. To be honest, I don't have any solid concrete theories on that. Um, it's something to think about though, for sure. Okay. No, no, I don't think that they need to be mature and gory. That's a specific type of comic book. Okay, that is like there's I mean like some stories, yes, some stories need that, like Vertigo stories or um darker side of the universe stories that are leaning more towards the horror element need that. But the Boys and Invincible, they're not real superhero books. Okay, they're not real superhero stories. The Boys is satire, and it was made by a guy who hates superheroes. Okay, keep that in mind. The Watchmen is the same deal. Like it's a subversion of superheroes. Invincible being as brutal as it is, it's not that it's. I mean, it's much more bloody in the comics, but at the same time, like You don't see that fight like that's in the first episode of Invincible. You don't see that in the comic. You see glimpses of it, but Invincible is the same deal, but it's a it started as kind of a parody of superheroes. It's just kind of in honor of superheroes, as opposed to The Boys, which was written by a guy who hates superheroes. Okay, so they don't have to be rated R for comics, no, unless the story demands it, and the story has to be a darker side of the story. I mean, there could have been some that were doing the bare minimum, yeah. But I see him. I wouldn't see a hero quitting because of that. I would see one pushing it harder for that. You know, if other heroes were doing the bare minimum. I don't think there's going to be any fake out superheroes in this, like like the boys. You know, I don't think there's going to be anything like that in Awesome anyway. There may be some later, but I don't think there's going to be any to show up yet because Eric needs these characters to be likable. Okay, he needs people to understand and like these characters. And if there's any fake out heroes, they're going to be the least popular characters. Period. They're not marketable, right? The boys comic book was never marketable. Okay, because the show is because the show changes it some. The show changes a lot, right, for the better. The show is one of those things that actually changes the lore from the comics for the better because it is appreciation for the story that's there, but it also knows that you can't market like comic book Homelander. You cannot market him. You can't. It's a terrible character. It's god awful, and there's no you couldn't make action figures of that character and sell them, right? You couldn't make pop figures of that character and anybody buy it if they fully adapted the comic book. They made everybody uh, in the show way more likable than they are in the comic. Everybody. Like there's not a single character that is you know even comparable to how they were in the comics, which is a good thing in this one case, right? But luckily, the people who wrote the Boys TV show are the same people that wrote Supernatural. So the worst selling action figure in history is She-Hulk. And it definitely will be. I would say Rose Tico is the worst selling action figure ever made. But Rose Tico and what's her name? Admiral Holdo. Oh yeah, but that was not going to sell. Look, so and I said this earlier. I like the Hawkeye show, but they held off on making the Hawkeye action figures from the show until it's going to be like February or April of next year when they come out, and they're going to be coming out with the build a figure of the Infinity Ultron. That's the only reason those are going to sell. And like I said, I like the movie, I like the show, but it was kind of normal, a little bit more toned down and fun as opposed to what the others have been, right? Like WandaVision, most people didn't know what that was going to be going in. Like we didn't know that it was going to be part House of M and part the Visions TV comic. We didn't know that when we went in, but we also didn't know that Multiverse of Madness was going to be so god awful. No, they're lazy. As part of what it is, they got lazy with it, and they're not they're putting so much strain on their CGI team that they can't just they can't make anything look good right now because they're putting so much strain on them by popping show after show after show after show. Right? Look at how much shit has come out this year alone. Right? And they've only got maybe a couple of teams that do that for everything that they come out with. Right? When you have She-Hulk standing next to the Hulk and they look different, like they look like they're different years of CGI involved in it, then there's a problem. But a lot of it is that people just don't want to do it, and I mean I can understand not wanting to do something for like Disney and them, but it looked terrible, and like that's how it's gonna look. It's not gonna be good because they're going for more of the fun side of it, sure, with She-Hulk, but She-Hulk is too little, too late, and it's not going to be good. It's going to be Ally McBeal with superheroes, so it's not going to be good at all. Like, don't give a fuck about the I don't give a fuck about the story or She-Hulk or the characters, but it looks objectively terrible. Mephisto should have been the villain in WandaVision. Yes, but Agatha was. And Wanda was. And honestly, uh, what's her name? The there's a wasted B plot in the entire show that with Darcy and I can't remember the other characters' names, but Monica Rambeau. That's a wasted subplot in that whole thing. They should have had their own series instead of banking off of WandaVision. It is a completely wasted, useless subplot of them, right? And they should have honestly made Sword the bad guys, the full on bad guys, right? Mephisto, I wouldn't trust them to do Mephisto. Like, and then the writer said that they didn't even know who Mephisto was. Well, then they don't need to be working on Marvel. It's just like the writer of Kenobi said that he didn't know that Ben Kenobi knew who that Anakin was Darth Vader. That dude should not have been working on it. Just 100%. Like he should not have anything to do with it, but he does, and that's the problem. But that they have this, they've got stories that they're wanting to tell, but they don't have the creativity to use original characters to do it. So they'll get assigned to like Marvel or something like that, and they'll tell these stories, right? That don't work with what they're trying to do. Like Multiverse of Madness, and I've said this before, but Multiverse of Madness was the perfect Sam Raimi movie. Okay, if it would have been Evil Dead 3, that movie would have been perfect. Okay, but it wasn't. It was a Marvel movie. And it's full of character assassinations to make the plot work. The characters served the plot. And the plot was retarded because it's a Sam Raimi movie, right? Like Sam Raimi making Evil Dead movies. And that's him making an Evil Dead movie with the highest budget imaginable for an Evil Dead movie. But it's still an Evil Dead movie. Okay. Yeah, yeah. They don't know how lightsabers work in Star Wars. That's retarded. Okay. They don't know how lightsabers work. Vader is the Vader could have been the saving force of that show, and he pretty much was the only good thing about it. But they made him they lowered his IQ, right, for every idea that involved Reva. They made him stupid, right? Yep. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. Yep, exactly. Like, I get being stabbed with a lightsaber, right? And not kill you. I get that. But the fact is, Vader did not kill this girl 3 times. One of them, she was a helpless child. Okay? One of those, she was helpless. I mean, she was a helpless child when she tried to fight him, which was the funniest thing in that entire show. That was the best scene in the entire show. Was Vader just boom, nope, 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 nope. You can't hit me, bitch. Stop. Right. That was the best thing in the entire show was that right there. And it was to make Vader look like a badass, sure. But the thing is that I mean, honestly, they hate James Earl Jones because he's a black conservative. He's an old black conservative. You know, they don't like James Earl Jones. They didn't even say happy birthday to him from the Star Wars Twitter, you know, at all. That to James Earl Jones, they ignored him. You know, they don't like they fired Gina. I mean, it's Star Wars has been a shithole for a long time, and it hasn't gotten any better with anything they've done. It's just they'll give us one thing to appease us for a little while, and then it's back to creating shit. That's what I hate about it. Right? It's they just try to appease us for a little bit. It's like Spider-Man No Way Home. They appease some of us for a little bit with it, but they go right back to making shit with Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange should have been the biggest movie of the year. It should have been the best Marvel movie to ever come out, right? Because of the concept of it. But it was a Sam Raimi movie. It's a Sam Raimi PG-13 horror movie. That could have been the perfect Evil Dead movie, and that's what I'm going at. Like that's what this rant is about. Is like they want to tell their stories the way they want to tell them, regardless of the characters. They butcher the characters to tell their god awful stories when they could just create new characters. Like here's the way I look at it, and this is one of my objective ways of looking at everything. Okay, so I say I'm looking at a Star Wars show or movie. If I take Star Wars out of it, do I like this story? Okay. If I take it completely out of that universe, do I like this story? This is just me looking at the stories, not the characters. Like, do I like this story? Okay, do I like the story that they're trying to tell? If it wasn't part of what I know, right? Because you kind of have to take your idea like that. You have to take it. Yeah, I hate Tom Holland Spider-Man too. Like, best Spider the best Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire, but he's the best. He's the best older, more experienced Spider-Man. Even when he's a kid, he's playing the new, like the more modern Spider-Man. While Andrew Garfield is the better middle range Spider-Man. Like he's the better, like go get it. You know, I'm still kind of new to this, but I'm doing it right. I'm Spider-Man. He was the better of those two. Um, Tobey Maguire was just he should have been playing like an older Spider-Man instead of like the kid. Like that's his deal. But yeah, it's but they're telling me stories that don't make sense to the universes that they're writing in. And that goes back to Star Wars. I can't say it about like Force Awakens because there really was no story there. It was just kind of bullshit thrown at the wall. It was almost a shot for shot remake. Um, yes, I mean yes, 100%. But like say start looking at shows like this. Like if you're gonna watch them and be objective about them. Now you can be subjective about them all day, and that's your opinion on them. But if you're gonna watch a show and you're gonna try to review it, here's the best way I've found to do it. So you take the context of what you know out of the equation, right? And first you ask yourself, would I have enjoyed this if it was not Star Wars, right? Or if I wouldn't if it wasn't Marvel, would I have enjoyed this story? If the answer is yes, then it's objectively a good story, okay? Or subjectively a good story. If you would have enjoyed it if it wasn't what you were watching, right? So then the problem is that they're using these characters, right? In situations that they don't belong in. So would I have enjoyed, say, The Mandalorian season 1 if it was not part of Star Wars? Yes. Yes, I would have. And I also enjoy it because it was part of Star Wars. It's objectively good. It's subjectively good to me. Like I like the first season for sure. I like a lot. I like some of the second season. Some of the second season's amazing, but other parts are hit or miss. But do you enjoy this story for what the story is? Okay, then you add the characters in. Okay, well, do the characters make sense being in this story, or would it have been better if there were other characters here that weren't are not related to the universe, right? If it was its own thing, like Multiverse of Madness, it would have been good if it was not in the Marvel universe, if it was not Doctor Strange and Wanda, if it were Ash Williams and some crazy psycho deadite chick, right? That would have been the best Evil Dead movie to ever exist, hands down. But it wasn't. It was Doctor Strange. So because it was Doctor Strange, that makes it just god awful. It makes it hard to sit through and watch because you know who these characters are. You know how they act. It completely undoes everything that WandaVision did. It completely ignores what's happened in the past, other than like you know Doctor Strange's importance to giving Thanos the Time Stone. That's a throwaway scene that means nothing in the whole movie, right? Other than they keep saying like, you have to be the one holding the knife because you're a surgeon, blah blah blah. No, like that's character assassination. The movie, and if it would have been an Evil Dead movie, it would have been the best Evil Dead movie. Simple as that. It was the wrong universe to have that story because it did not make sense. I could fix Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness by doing one thing and one thing only. The evil Wanda is from another universe, right? The evil Wanda was from another universe, and the one that was trying to protect the kids was the one from our was the one from the MCU universe, the main MCU. That would have fixed the entire movie, right? Yeah, I mean that's really all it was. But uh, like you say, if there is a story to it, like sometimes there's not, but like, can you watch this? Could you have watched this, and would you have liked it if it wasn't part of the universe that you love? Right? That's the question to ask. And if you say no, I wouldn't have enjoyed that either way, then it's bad. It's a bad movie. Simple as that. There's nothing redeemable about it if you can't find anything out of the story that you enjoyed. Like I'll say it again, the Darth Vader scenes, other than the ones where he's retarded in Kenobi, are the best in Kenobi. But when they throw a damn lightsaber, it's retarded. One good idea for 10 bad ideas. That's what Kenobi is. Okay, so okay, let's go with something like I don't know, Dungeons and Dragons. Let's go with Dungeons and Dragons for as an example. So version 1 through version 3 are all the same story. They're all interconnected to the story. Fourth edition is a soft reboot of the entire universe. Okay, and they throw in this this goddess, right, in fourth edition that never existed before. Some of y'all might know who I'm talking about, but there's a character in fourth edition that gets added, and she vibed to the story of it. She's Mary Sue. She's a Mary Sue god that is added, and all she does is overpower and steal powers from every other deity, from other deities, stuff like that, and takes domains. I mean, and it's a retarded ass story, right? And it's a soft reboot that they do when Wizards of the Coast, basically Wizards of the Coast did it. But this goddess became super popular in D&D. Like super emo characters love this fucking goddess. It's the Raven Queen is what I'm talking about. But it's retarded. Okay. And then in 5th edition, they add a little more backstory, and then they keep changing stuff in D&D. And now in D&D, if you get the Sasha's book, you can be anything. You could be transracial or whatever the hell you want to be. An orc is no longer menacing because they're racist secretly, and they see orcs as racist coding. So. Like, okay, that stormtrooper that got hit with the lightsaber the first time, he should have been cut in half. Because a lot of people don't know this, but the stormtrooper armor is actually plastic in the universe. It's not protective for them. Right? It's plastisteel is what it's called. It's basically plastic. Okay. That lightsaber should have cut him in half, and Obi-Wan had to hit him twice. Because I don't know if he had his lightsaber on a low power setting or what, but that thing was a baseball bat. Like that's a Disney damn lightsaber for you though. They're not lightsabers. They're like clubs. They don't understand how a lightsaber works. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni understand how it works. That's why in The Mandalorian, you see the Darksaber cutting through people. It just slices through whatever the hell it touches. But a lightsaber is going to bounce off somebody when they're not in charge of it. I haven't seen it. If you know anything about the history of D&D movies, they're all pretty terrible. So, and for a thing where you could do whatever the hell you wanted to with it, like a D&D movie, for them all to be just terrible, I don't really care about it. I'm not gonna watch it. Yeah, I mean exactly. Like, and that's not explained. I mean, if you know anything about like lightsabers specifically, that they do have a low power setting, right? That you can turn the power on them down, and this is how kids would train with them, right? They would train on the low power setting so they wouldn't cut their heads off the first time they swing it. So, but I don't know why Obi-Wan would have his on a low power setting. That's retarded, right? All the kids you see using them in like episode 3, they got it on the low power setting. It's a training saber setting. It's just a part of it, but I mean, it was stupid. That I know for a fact that the people who wrote that did not know this. Okay, that stormtrooper should have been cut in half right there on the screen. In fact, they should have faded out to another like camera and had just had him falling apart behind Obi-Wan. That was just stupid. Ugh, don't get me started on that. I can sit here and bitch about lightsabers all day. I just don't have the voice to do it. Like, I mean, I'm bitching about lightsabers, so that's what I'm doing here. Uh, but I'm losing my voice. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, they're just they're ridiculous. Like who the fuck? I want to know who didn't tell them. Like that. Yeah, hey, they're supposed to cut through it. Like that's what I want to know. Like who did not tell this idiot? Pablo Hidalgo failed right there. He should have been like, hey, that lightsaber. He's supposed to be the historian and the lore master. He should have been like, hey, that lightsaber is gonna cut this dude in half, right? If you hit him with that. Everybody who worked on Kenobi dropped the ball, right? Every single person dropped the ball, and that's what a lot of it's just been for the longest time is like people dropping the goddamn ball, or people trying to push the message over everything else, right? So it's either people that do not need to be in those positions that they're in making these stories. And I don't necessarily blame them. I blame their bosses for hiring, right? Or it's people trying to push the message, or it's both, right? People who do not need to be in that job but don't know this, but are trying to push the message anyway, right? And those are the worst. So it's one of the two always. Like, and when you're pushing the message over hiring people that can tell a story, there's no talent left is in Hollywood at all. There's no talent. The old guard are the oldest guard. Let me change my phrasing there. The old guard is who were writing and stuff have been pushed out, right? Or they're not doing it anymore, or they're doing their own thing. They're not a part of it, right? And then you've got the newer old guard that are all about the message over the story. They're all about preaching to you and getting pats on the back from their peers, as opposed to telling a story that matters to people, or their awards. Like that's what they want. Is could you imagine if a Star Wars film won the Emmy? Could you imagine that? Or won the Screen Actors Guild Award for Star Wars? Like, no, stop it. Stop being retarded. Or the even worse mindset, and this is by far the worst mindset to have with it, is I'm doing this to piss off fans. Like, I want the fans pissed off, because the more they talk about it, the more people will go to watch it, right? And that was the Last Jedi mentality. It's like, I want to split the fan base in half, right? And Ryan Johnson actually said that he wanted to use a movie that would split the fan base in half. Oh, and he did it. He managed to do that with his shit movie, and then everything after that has gone to hell. Like, you want to see a shift in the culture war at the Last Jedi. And the fact is that there's always a culture war going on. It doesn't matter. Like, there's never not going to be a culture war because we're all too ideologically different from each other, and even from state to state, we're all ideologically different from each other. So yeah, and then that's what they want, but they knew. Okay, so there's been a running narrative that the Star Wars fandom has been toxic for a long time, right? That's been the running narrative, and then they'll tell you like, well, fans bullied George Lucas, fans bullied the kid who played Anakin, right? Fans bullied the guy who played Jar Jar. Okay, first off, that's not true. The Jar Jar one especially. The Jar Jar one was the media. The media bullied him. The media made him almost kill himself. Okay? The media's narrative almost made this dude kill himself. Okay? That wasn't the fans that did that. The fans did not react to Jar Jar well at first. Okay? It wasn't fans that bullied the kid who played Anakin. It was kids that were in his school that bullied him. Okay? And kids are cruel anyway. Kids are assholes. But, you know, it was kids in his school that bullied him. And George Lucas, how the fuck you gonna bully George Lucas? Right? Every time they come out with that fake narrative that the fans are bullying somebody on social media. Okay? First off, show the receipts. And second off, it's probably some dumbass acting in bad faith if it is. Or thirdly, it's somebody on your team that's doing it. To push your narrative like they did with. I fully believe that Moses Ingram had people to do that because those memes that they sent do not look like the Legion of Memers or 4chan memes. They look like leftist memes that are trying to sound like right wing memes. They just don't seem they weren't funny for one. You know. Yeah, 100%. Rippaverse is going to have some dark theme characters. Rippa's favorite character is Batman. I mean, so I have no doubts that he's going to incorporate some dark theme characters into it. And if not, my comic book will be out in a couple of years. So y'all can just buy that. But yeah, I just I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know which way it's going to go. We're winning. We're winning right now. As long as somebody on our side doesn't do something fucking stupid, right? And I mean, just retarded to shift the narrative again, right? Then we're going to win anyway, but we're going to win it in our own way for sure. And I'm loving the white pills right now. I'm enjoying that. It's been too many black pills here recently. And anybody that says that Eric can't completely annihilate Marvel and DC, they don't know the history of those companies. That's the reason that DC can't keep a parent company. I mean, Warner Brothers sells to AT&T, who then sells it to Discover. You know, there's a reason for that because it's not financially stable. For one, after New 52, you can barely give a DC book away. Their animation department can't make animated movies about it popular. You know, it's just one of those things. Marvel's never had a good animation department, other than when they worked on X-Men and Spider-Man in the 90s. That was the best they ever had, and they've never been able to get a good one. They had a couple of good movies like Wolverine versus Hulk and Thor versus Hulk, but they've never been able to successfully make good animated movies or good animated anything. Marvel hasn't. Like, and their comics are shit. Oh yeah. The paper's cheap, and like if you're gonna buy Marvel, like buy Marvel anything, like for sure get like these. Like that's the only way to actually get them and have it would be good quality. Because these are '90s stories that have been retold, and like not on the '90s stories they were printed on the same on shitty as like toilet paper stuff. So they've been reprinted on better paper for these books right here. But don't buy their fucking trades because they're awful. The paper is the same as the cover. Yeah, it's really flimsy. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just that's we support the Rippaverse, and as long as we keep supporting the Rippaverse, I mean, good and bad stories will happen. You know, there's not going to be just it's not going to be 100% amazing stories, but because nobody does that, nobody has 100% amazing stories. Like I was saying the other day, the only Spawn issue 1 through 25 are the best, and everything else goes downhill after that. But it still outsells Marvel and DC to this day. Well, yeah, that was what I was going with the crossovers when I was talking about those. Like whenever a company does a crossover with another, they're close to shutting down. Is the reason that they're doing it. They're trying to garner some kind of support for that comic when they do a crossover event. Um, Crossover events are the worst sign of a comic book company, and printing multiple variants of the same cover, because you're never going to sell. You're oversaturating the market with comic books. So then the 1 in 25 issue or the 1 in 100 issue are the only ones worth money, right? So, example, yeah, you get comic book store, they buy 100 issues and they'll get one special cover for those 100 issues. Well, that 100th one is worth $100 right there. Okay, that's probably what you got to pay for it at the comic store is $100 to get it. But then, if that comic is not good, it starts to drop in price right there from $100 down to nothing. So, um, Marvel sold off their assets to a bunch of different people back in the 90s. Fox and Sony, and they sold their characters for pennies on the dollar for them to make movies out of. And New Line Cinema was Blade, and NBC got Hulk and She-Hulk, so Universal had them. Sony got Spider-Man and all the Spider-Man properties, and then Fox got the rest. So that's where, and well, Fox got the ones that they wanted. But yeah, no, they had DC go, they had Stanley go write for DC for a little while, and like putting his takes on their characters and stuff like that to try to garner people to buy the comics. They were working together at the time when they should have just finished each other. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that though. That they were working together to try to build up, and it's I mean, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but so Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It was a big crossover cartoon movie, and it had Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny in it. Well, Disney had a deal with Warner Brothers that when they made a movie, that they could use Mickey Mouse, right? And that was the whole reason that Mickey Mouse and that those characters, or that the Warner Brothers characters, the Looney Tunes, were in uh, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Well, years later, Disney came out with, I mean, Warner Brothers came out with Space Jam, and Mickey Mouse was supposed to be the referee. Like a lot of people don't know this. Mickey Mouse was supposed to be the referee, but Disney wouldn't let them use it after the fact. Disney would not let Warner Brothers use Mickey Mouse as the referee. So that's just a little fun fact there that a lot of people don't know. So they ended up using Marvin the Martian because he was both an alien and a Looney Tune. But yeah, it was supposed to be Mickey Mouse that was a rep. Oh, my throat is killing me. I'm gonna end the stream. Oh, what's up? It's gonna take out DC first. DC's gonna get wiped the fuck out first. Marvel has the movies that keep them going stronger. DC probably has Joker coming up. That's going to be it's heavier, and they're probably always going to make Marvel and DC movies. As long as they own the properties to them, they're gonna turn put out crap. But the comics are what's important right now. It's taking the comics out because if you can stop the comics, I mean, and like I said, they'll probably always be made, but they're gonna be like the pulp comics were. Really, the pulp comics got replaced by DC, and then Marvel should have killed DC when it came out. It should have finished the job right there. DC was struggling until the 80s. A lot of people don't know this. Like they were struggling until the 80s. And when they made Batman go dark, they kind of picked up some. And when they released Sandman for the Vertigo imprint, they did extremely well. Um, and then in the 90s, both Marvel started to suffer, and Image should have finished them off. But Image wanted to work with both of them. So, but Marvel's not going to be the first one to get taken out just because of the movies, right? Unless Disney royally continues to fuck up, and I think that they're gonna shift gears in Phase 5. Phase 5 is going to be completely different, and they're going to try to get that audience back because they're realizing how much money they're losing right now. They're going to try to shift gears. They're going to change their tune, and we've got to remember what they did. We've got to remember that they did this to themselves, and we can't forgive them. for what they've done. That is how we do this, right? That's how we win. We cannot let them. We can't forget what they've done, and we can't forgive it. If we do that, we're fucked. Like, I guarantee you, Mandalorian season 3 is going to shift gears so hard that it's going to be amazing. But we can't forgive it, right? We cannot let them forget what they did to Kenobi. When they shift gears, they they need to be left alone. We gotta let these companies die. I'm 100% with Eric, like 100%. There is very little that I don't agree with Eric on. And I just say this out loud, so everybody can hear me say this. There's very little I don't agree with him on, and anything I disagree with him on is superficial. It is little bullshit that don't even matter, like multiverses. Like, I like the idea of stories based in time travel and multiverses, but they've got to be good, right? They can't be bullshit. Um, I don't like lazy multiverses. I don't like any of that bullshit. I don't like lazy time travel. Okay, if you're throwing a time travel story at me, it better be Doctor Who, old, good Doctor Who, or it better be Legacy of Kain time travel story, or DBZ even, DBZ. Like, it's got a good time travel story. Nothing you do in the past changes your timeline, right? That's one way of doing it I find interesting. Like, Legacy of Kain is all about time travel, but it's one of the most amazing stories you'll ever read or you'll ever play in a video game. So the way the time travel works in Legacy of Kain, and a lot of people just don't understand it because it's not fully explained in the game, is nothing you do in the past matters. You're not going to change anything. You are a pebble being tossed back in time. If you go back in time in Legacy of Kain, you were meant to go back in time in Legacy of Kain. Unless you are holding the Soul Reaver when you go back. And in which case, if you have the Soul Reaver on you, you change history with whatever you do. Yeah, they only use it a couple times. And Akira Toriyama loves time travel stories. Like those are some of his favorites. Um, if you ever play Chrono Trigger, the whole game is about time travel. And the little stuff you do, like, okay, so one of your companions is like a princess, and then you're playing, and you accidentally go back in time. Well, she will vanish, like, for a little while when you go back in time, but because you've got to make sure that her ancestors get together. um, it's kind of stuff like that. And it's like, and then you go to the end of time and you battle the big boss. But you go to the present. It doesn't really matter. The present's not it's not that much, but it's all time travel, right? But everything you do in that game correlates to, like, where the future leads, not the other way around. Like, you don't change anything. You are part of the timeline that is supposed to happen. Um, I mean, maybe, yeah. I figure he will. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a great payoff to a time travel story, but he's still in his time, right? Trunks did not change his future to where he didn't exist. He didn't. Little Trunks is a completely different character than adult Trunks, and it's like he did not change his own timeline. He exists in a separate timeline, but he can always return to the regular timeline as long as he's got fuel for his time machine. He just can't change anything other than getting more powerful in the past. That's all he could really do, and I like that. I like those type of time travel stories. The Doctor Who ones, they've got nothing really changes like the future in a Doctor Who story. You don't really change anything. It's kind of just like playing around in time, and you can't change a fixed event, or you're going to cause a paradox, right? You're going to cause something like really bad to happen if you do change something that's not supposed to be changed. If some things can't be changed, and it all ties together really well for a good bit of it. And then, like I said, with Legacy of Kain, you go back in time and you don't fix shit. You just find out more of like what happened. Like it's all tied together of for this world is like you're a pebble being thrown into a river. If you go back in time, you don't mean anything to the timeline unless you're carrying the weapon, like that magic weapon. That's the only way that you can affect time in any way. And then you have to do something to actually affect it, right? Like so people don't realize this, but like so you've got Blood Omen, which is the first game. Then you've got Soul Reaver 2, and then you've got Blood Omen 2. Blood Omen 2 is something happens in Soul Reaver 2 and it changes time. And then Blood Omen 2 is taking place in the past for one of the characters. And he realizes it. He recognizes that shit has changed, right? In his own timeline. He knows that something has changed. The main character understands that something is not right about his timeline because this is not supposed to happen. Even though it's his past, He's like, yeah. And then you've got Deception, or Defiance, which is the last one. And it's all about bouncing through everything. But yeah, it's one of those stories where nothing in the past is supposed to change. Like, and until it does. Until you force it with a magic weapon to change. And I've always liked stories like that. And with multiverses, there's two types of multiverses I like. One of them is a completely different universe, right? So let's say, Rippa says there's no multiverses in his world, but let's say he buys DC Comics. I would much prefer him to continue a New Earth, right? Continue New Earth as a separate line and continue DC Comics than I would have him put Batman in the Rippaverse, right? Because that still goes to altering the character so much that it's not the character anymore. You know what I mean? Like, there would have to be some kind of universal thing to happen to put them in the Rippaverse, if that was going to happen. But I would much prefer him just to continue the DC line separately as its own thing. And then Terminator. Like, Terminator 1 and 2, time travel is fine, but anything after that is ridiculous. Because they forget their own rules with time travel. And then, but the other type of multiverse I like, so I like having separate multiverse altogether. So you've got like DC, and then DC bought Wildstorm. Okay, well, Wildstorm is now part of the 52 universe, or was part of the 52 universe when they bought it. But it's a completely separate universe from any other DC story. It doesn't work with it, right? It doesn't work with DC stories. And it's just off on its own there in its little cubicle. But it exists within the 52 DC universes. So that's a very different universe. I like the alternate morals universe, So you got a good universe and you got an evil universe. It's simple. It's not retarded. You can understand the concept that this happened, so this character is evil now, or this character is not Batman because it's not Bruce. He's Bruce's older brother. You know, Owlman. Owlman was Bruce's older brother, and Bruce died. Owlman didn't exist in the regular universe, so like I like those kind of stories. Um, and then like the Dragon Ball Z one, it is seven universes only, and they're all different from one another. So I kind of like those. But as far as like, oh, this is Miles as Thor that's retarded. Okay, stop telling retarded multiverse stories. Um, Spider Gwen got bit by the spider instead of Peter, and Peter turned into the lizard. Like, okay, I can. That's better than Miles. That's better than the Miles stories, you know. Um, but it's still not better. You know, it was instead of like she gets bit instead of Peter, right? So she becomes the spider of her universe. That I'm okay with that. Like, but at least it wasn't the same exact spider that bit him in the same universe. Like, I much prefer regular Gwen to Spider Gwen, but you know, um, like I didn't really like Ultimates at all. It was it was Edge Boy Avengers is what it was. It was Avengers trying to be the boys, or Avengers trying to be darker and you know just retarded. Um, but I'm not a fan of those. All right. Well, my voice is killing me, guys, and I've been going for almost 4 hours again. So he's gonna have different dimensions and different like alien stuff, yes, but different dimensions are not the same thing. Uh, how does a character that only says because people think he's cute, so it's probably gonna be little shorts of him going on stupid adventures, probably. Like it's probably gonna be him and Rocket, or you know, I doubt they'll have Quill in it, but it may be just a bunch of stupid ass shit. It's probably gonna be it's gonna be aimed towards kids for sure. Um, but like I could see them doing like a Baby Yoda show like that. You know, just go having some little micro adventures with him doing random shit to try to boost sales if they want to do that. That's them trying to get people to watch Marvel again. That's all it is. It's retarded. Oh, but yeah, I've gone for 3 hours and 45 minutes. My voice is shot from yesterday and today. I am not going to be able to do this any longer today. I may get on Twitch later, so if y'all want to follow me there, let me see. Which one was my Twitch? I don't remember. Alpha Core. Anybody remember? Alpha Core. Okay. Yeah, Alpha Core is my Twitch. Yeah, if y'all want to follow me there, feel free, and I will probably continue discussing stuff there later. But I gotta go eat, and I've gotta. My throat is fucking killing me right now. Like I put almost I put 9 hours into this in 2 days, and yeah. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to be like I say, closing off here, and I'll probably play Kill la Kill later if I can get it to. I probably won't though. I might play Stray. Yeah, Stray's pretty fun. You play as a cat. It's a cat simulator. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. I will be back tomorrow sometime in the afternoon. Um, I appreciate it, I am, and everybody else. I appreciate you guys so much for coming. I'll probably play Stray later, like I said. It doesn't require me to talk too much, so Just respond when people say. But anyway, um, I'll be back tomorrow sometime in the afternoon.